A perfectly plump summer tomato, the aroma of garlic browning in the frying pan, the crisp sound of crunching cabbage, the earthy texture of root vegetables, the sweetness of an ear of corn. Food engages all of our senses, not to mention our imaginations. A comparison of James Peale's 1828 oil painting, Still Life with Yellow Blossoms, to a circa 1890 chromolithograph advertising Shaker's genuine vegetable and flower seeds, suggests a connection between food, art, and viewers' imaginations, a connection that helps elucidate the complex relationship between people and what they eat. Both celebrate agricultural bounty, with deliberately artful arrangements of vegetables, idealized vegetable forms, and punchy color palettes. But their differences in form, material, and context place them on opposite ends of a spectrum of how 19th century Americans thought about their food. James Peale painted Still Life with Yellow Blossoms in oil on canvas in Philadelphia at the age of 79. Brother to Charles Willson Peale and uncle to Raphael Peale, James Peale specialized in fine portrait miniatures. But as his eyesight became poor around 1810, he began working on larger portraits and still lifes, such as this painting, likely for his daughter Anne. Still lifes had previously been dismissed as the lowest of art forms in America. Working in Philadelphia, James Peale, and especially his nephew Raphael Peale, established still life as a respected and even celebrated art form in early 19th century America. Whether exhibited in a gallery or on the walls of a Peale family home, possibly like these examples of still lifes on display here at Winterthur, this painting depicts vegetables common to the Philadelphia region: beets, radishes, tomatoes, eggplant, and squash blossoms, representing the bounty of the American landscape for human consumption. But period cookbooks like Miss Leslie's Directions for Cookery suggest that Americans weren't eating their vegetables in the early 19th century. Instead, meat dishes dominate the recipe book, and presumably American dinner plates. The elevation and abstraction of this vegetable arrangement to the status of art, then, is not such a stretch of the imagination. Rather than seeing a summer meal in Still Life with Yellow Blossoms, viewers may have seen instead a pleasing composition and use of color and form. The frame, likely original to the work, serves to further abstract the food, further distancing the viewer from an idea of vegetables as sustenance. As the 19th century progressed, technological innovations like the cook stove began to transform American kitchens, while the Civil War, westward expansion, and industrialization transformed the United States in other important ways. As John Harvey Kellogg's 1877 Household Manual suggests, the general public became increasingly aware of nutrition through the 19th century, leading to greater consumption of cultivated vegetables, some grown in increasing numbers of domestic gardens. For farmers and gardeners alike, the Shakers of Mount Lebanon, New York, were prominent suppliers of vegetable seeds, as this late 19th century chromolithograph illustrates. The religious sect of the Shakers branched off from a Quaker community in England around 1750 and settled in America in 1774. The Shaker Seed Company of Mount Lebanon, New York, had been established by 1795. Though they are perhaps best known for their craftsmanship, the Shakers were among the first to raise, box, and sell individual seed packets instead of seeds in bulk. As one of the most common methods for printing color images in the 19th century, this chromolithograph was published by Kosak and Company of Buffalo, New York. It would have been pasted on the inside lid of a seed box to advertise the seeds for sale. The print's arrangement of vegetables resembles that of a still life, but as a mass-produced print in the late 19th century, it signifies a relationship with vegetables that is entirely different from James Peale's still life. Gardeners and farmers who purchased the Shaker seeds would be intimately familiar with growing, consuming, and even selling vegetables, so the highly idealized, brightly colored forms here instead represent sustenance, in terms of both food and financial capital. Through this comparison, these works bookend American cultural attitudes toward food, and especially vegetables, in the 19th century. What does 21st century visual culture say about our relationship to food?